Adesanya retained his UFC middleweight championship with a dominant performance against Jared Cannonier at UFC 276. But the fans were left unsatisfied. Some booed the lack of action. Fans left in the middle of the third round. Cell phones were being waved through the crowd, and social media was lit on fire complaining about the lack of action. Does the UFC have an Israel Adesanya problem? Or are we just not appreciating greatness and what's in front of us? Let's talk about it on Fighting Words with me, Andreas Hale. Israel Adesanya made it look easy against Jared Cannonier, and we're complaining because we wanted a bloodbath, we wanted knockouts, but I think we forget who Israel Adesanya is. This is what I like to call the Anderson Silva problem. Once upon a time, Anderson Silva was running roughshod through the middleweight division, but then his opponents smartened up and they realized that if they make a mistake, they're gonna pay for it. And what happened? We got the Damian Maia fight, we got the Talis Leites fight. They weren't fun because they gave Anderson Silva nothing, which in return we got long stretches of misery with no action. But is that Anderson Silva's fault? No, it's his opponent's fault. Anderson Silva was a champion. You got to take the fight to him. It's not fair to blame him. And we're in the same boat with Israel Adesanya. Look, we look at the highlights like the Paulo Costa or the Derek Brunson highlight, and we go, we want that in every fight. But his opponents aren't just charging recklessly to get their heads knocked off. Instead, they're fighting, smart, and they're trying to not get knocked out. Jared Cannonier came to not lose. He didn't come to win. And that's not Israel Adesanya's fault. Instead, we should blame the opponents for not taking the fight to the last style bender. Because if you take the fight to him, you're going to get fireworks. But don't be mad. Don't complain on social media and say now he's a points fighter and he's not fun to watch. No, he only takes what his opponents give him. And if they're giving him nothing, he's got nothing to give back. Adesanya was dominant. He looked great in stretches. But yeah, it wasn't fun. We didn't get the knockout. But guess what? You're going to watch him again. You want to know why? Because he's still entertaining. Look, the entrance was incredible. The Undertaker? Adesanya knows how to make an entrance, and he knows how to make things interesting, and he gets on social media and he talks trash, and he loves anime, and he connects with us for that very reason. So stop complaining. Get over it. Tell his opponents to step up and do something about it, because it's his title to hold on to. He's chasing history. He's trying to chase down the great Anderson Silva as the greatest middleweight of all time. He's not going to do something stupid for us. He's trying to preserve his legacy. But I don't think we got much to worry about, because up next looks like a former foe and rival and somebody who's knocked out into Israel Adesanya, and that's Alex Pereira. If it's action you want in Israel Adesanya's next fight, look no further than what looks like his next opponent, Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira was also featured at UFC 276, and he beat the brakes off of Sean Strickland. Now look, if you don't know, go look him up. Alex Pereira fought Israel Adesanya in kickboxing in Glory years back, and he beat him twice. The first time by decision, and the second time he knocked out Israel Adesanya. He's a kickboxer who also capitalizes on mistakes, but is a bit aggressive. There's a thick storyline here. There are two guys who clearly don't like each other. Pereira called him boring after the fight, and now we're setting up a narrative that, look, man, I can't see this fight not being exciting. The build should be exciting in itself, but Pereira and Adesanya have history. And two strikers that want to knock each other's heads off should guarantee fireworks. So you can complain about this Cannonier fight. You can complain about the Yoel Romero fight. But when people bring it to Adesanya and put him in danger, that's when the best version of him comes out. Adesanya versus Pereira, whenever it happens, and it looks like it's going to be soon, it's going to be a big deal. So get over this inactivity fight or calling him a points fighter. Look, it's very much in the manner of Floyd Mayweather, where you're going to pay to watch Israel Adesanya lose at some point. But if he doesn't give it to you, you're just going to keep paying until somebody can beat him. But I think Pereira is the opponent that's going to bring the best out of Israel Adesanya. It's coming soon. And then what are you going to say? But look, I want to know what you guys think. Is Israel Adesanya now a safe fighter and you don't like watching him? Or are we just not appreciating greatness when it's in front of us? We see the boisterous personality, we see everything that Adesanya does, but we complain when his fights aren't fireworks. Is it his fault? Sound off in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button because I just want to have some conversation with you people about fight sports. It's combat and there's always something to talk about. But I don't think that Israel Adesanya is a boring fighter, and I don't think he's somebody that we should be criticizing as much as we have. He's still fun as hell to watch, and the future remains mighty bright for one of the biggest stars in the UFC. But we'll talk about this again at a later date because I think we got a big middleweight title fight coming. But until next time, we're out. Peace.